I want to just give you some background about who the hell am I and why you should listen to anything I have to say about finding product market fit. I'm here to address really what I see as the existential problem and question for all SaaS startups. And if really any business, if you do not have product market fit, nothing else matters. And so, why am I someone who should talk about this and why you should listen to me is because I've actually done this before and I've seen it go from nothing. When I was at Digit, we took it from absolutely nothing to multiple seven figures MRR when I left. I learned a lot along that journey, and I applied that to some new ventures and new opportunities. And I started to understand the value of niche marketing and audience marketing. And so I was able to take this strategy and my learnings from Digit and apply that to 2 separate SaaS launches in 3 months. To give you a sense of how fast this methodology is to find product market fit, I was able to use this method and launch 2 different SaaS in 3 months. And another example of how fast you get traction with this method is one of those reached 1K MRR in the first 30 days. And so when you find that product market fit, the sales become much easier and they come faster. Another example of that leverage with the system is with one post, I was able to generate a wait list of over 200 people ready and eager to buy what the offer solved. So when you really dial into the needs of a niche, you get people banging down the door. And so that's what I want to talk to you about here. So first of all, we should talk about the opportunity. Like, why niche SaaS? Niche seems limiting. Why is that something we should care about and actually aspire to? Well, I think anecdotally, you'll know a lot of different people in a lot of different sectors have a lot of problems. And so you can sense anecdotally that there's a need here, but even Gartner forecasts that mass market platform-based SaaS is very saturated, and I'm not going to say over, but challenging, more challenging than it was before. And so the new opportunity, the new play that even Gartner is saying is niche needs and niche SaaS. And so they're predicting a 28% growth over the next 2 years. So from 2019 to 2022, a 28% growth, that amounts to almost 40 billion. So obviously it makes you think about, like, where is your opportunity in this 40 billion? And where are you going to find your niche? Because it's not the mass market platform anymore. It's the niche needs of a specific market. We know the opportunity, right? 40 billion at least in the next couple of years growth. The market of SaaS is huge. We know it's going down the niche path, but we also know this really stark reality and harsh truth that 90% of startups fail. And we know that we've surveyed some of them and know that 42% of those have admitted and self-reported and cited that they failed because they did not have product market fit. So they had that self-awareness to know, like, it didn't work out because we didn't have the fit. But if you dig into the rest of the reasons of all the other folks who did not cite no product market fit as failure, they really just didn't have no product market fit. If you dig into it, there's all these other surface reasons, but in the end, it's because they built something that nobody wanted to buy and they didn't have the fit. So that essentially says 90% of startups fail because of no product market fit. So if this is such an existential problem and so widespread, can we understand a little bit about what's going on, why that's happening? That's huge. But if you dissect and look at all these cases of failure, undoubtedly every single founder will say they focused on the right activities. They were probably great activities in general, but they were doing them at the wrong time and they were doing things out of sequence. And so the order of operations as you go from nothing to something when it comes to SaaS is extremely important. You cannot skip these steps if you want to avoid startup pivot. So pivot is like pivot at best, failure at worst. Or is there, something else you could do? Is there another way? And there is another way, especially as we enter this new era of everything niching down. The typical approach that people take that leads them down this path of failure is they think that product market fit is just a simple equation that you take a little bit of product, you add some market, and you end up with some fit at the end. And then it's wise to start with product and then go to market. But that's actually completely backwards, especially if you want to capitalize on this new era of niche SaaS. You need to go to the market first as early as possible, understand what's going on there, what the needs are, where the biggest opportunities and plays are, and then build the product based on that instead of based on the assumptions or big ideas that come to mind. Okay, if it's not that simple equation of product plus market equals fit, what is it? What is the answer? What can we do to avoid becoming another statistic of failure or pivot? And you need a system and a way to explore and exploit opportunities. You need to understand when it's time to move on from something and when it's time to double down. So what is this system? The system could really be broken down to just a 2-week sprint. And that's the beauty of it. It's very rapid. If you cannot get people excited about a concept and an offer that can be delivered via software, if you can't get them excited about some copy about it that describes it, you don't have a good idea or you don't have a firm enough grasp on the problem you're solving. And so it's very important to go to market first, test the idea and the offer in concept and theory first, and get that validation early through this 2-week sprint. Don't build before you've done this step. So we're building software, right? We love metrics, and let's think about a metric here. If marketing is so important, what is your time to market? When you go to market, how long did it take you to go to market? What's your latency there? We know in software latency is bad. And if your time to market is slow, that increases the odds that either someone's beating you to the punch or your solution is irrelevant by the time you get to market. The formula that I have here is as close as you can get to pivot proof. Nothing's guaranteed, obviously, but this is as close as you can get to it by understanding what's really going on in the marketplace first before you build anything. The first step here is to discover. The second step is to uncover, and the third step is to recover. And so what does that actually mean? It means you need to find a niche in the first place, discover where the opportunity is in the vast market. Mass market's over, so you got to find your niche. And the second phase is you need to actually learn what their problems are and understand and uncover their fears, pains, and desires. Go deeper than just like what would be cool, but what do they actually need and scared of, and what do they really want? What's their biggest problem, and what could you really take off their plate that would be irresistible to them? And as you start to understand that, you will help them recover from their problem that you've identified on a deep level that potentially no SaaS and no software has ever done for them. They've had to just make it work with whatever's out there. And so this is your chance to help them recover in a big way with a very tailored solution. And people pay handsomely for that. The tighter the niche, the bigger value you can deliver and the more you can charge for that. So these 3 phases really come down to niche marketing and audience marketing so that you can identify an audience of buyers with trust-based conversational selling. When you go to the market early, a lot of things happen. You get information that you need critically for building out your product. You build rapport and trust with the future customers. And all of these things compound over time, and they just make it easier when you do launch the real deal to attract your customers instead of chasing your customers. And then the second phase, when we start to uncover what's going on, this just dives into market psychology and just really empathizing with them, understanding what's really at the heart of things in this niche and what's really a problem for them that you can solve and serve them with SaaS. And then the last phase, when you help them recover, it's really just productizing and packaging up your intellectual property. That is, what is your unique value proposition that makes your SaaS special and valuable and helpful to this niche? You need to figure out how to package that up in a benefits focused way that makes sense to them and clearly communicates the real value that you're bringing to their life. And you need to make that as irresistible as possible through packaging and pricing. I've just given you the steps. Like, this is it. These are the keys. Go forth. There's a lot here. There's a lot to digest. You need to understand who's going to be buying, what's going to be worth your time. You need to be able to read between the lines of what they're saying and what they're not saying. But this is it. These are the keys right here. Screenshot this, take some notes. But remember, in software, time is of the essence. And the longer you wait, the higher the likelihood that someone's going to beat you to the punch or it's not going to be needed anymore. If you're spending significant time, months, wondering, having any sort of existential crisis and worry that, is this the right set of features to be building? Do I have product market fit? There's no need to wait for that. That's something that you can sprint towards and sprint through in 2 weeks. If this sounds like something you're interested in, I'd like you to go to book.salesandsoftware.com right now. Time is of the essence. Your product market fit is out there waiting for you. You just need to find the niche so you can make that massive impact that you're looking to make. If you want to save time, book a call and let's talk about what next steps might look like for you and see if it's a good fit to work together. I'll talk to you soon.